Sometimes it takes a minute. All right, welcome, welcome. I think we're live here today. Will double check me, fact check me on whether or not we are actually live on LinkedIn. But hey, it's good to see you guys. I'm so excited to talk to you today, Kanika, and do some teardowns and some, like really digging into what makes a LinkedIn profile sing. So we're here today with Kanika Sharma and Will Novelli from my team. What's up? How are you guys?
Awesome. First of all, thanks a lot for having me here. I love talking about LinkedIn profiles. I love telling people how it's more like a landing page. And I feel like talking about it with you guys is even amazing because we met each other through Exit 5. And whoever I've met through that community, it has always been amazing. So I feel like, and if there are some people from Exit 5 watching it later or right now, I'm just going to tell them this is going to be a power pack session. So yeah, stay tuned till the end of it. 100%.
Yeah, it's awesome. I know Will's like a top contributor in that community now. Like he got in there and just like jumped on it. And it's really cool how many people we've met. I don't know, Will, you and Kanika, I think first connected, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. We
Yeah,
connected
yeah.
just through the general feed there on Exit Five community. It's a great community, highly recommended. Um,
100%,
but
yeah.
yeah, I'm here. I'm a little cold. It's under 10 degrees in New Jersey, so a little frozen. But I'm excited for today. Excited to do some tearing down.
Super excited, yeah.
All
That's
right.
gonna
So
warm us
Kanika,
all up.
yeah, I know. I think it's 6 degrees outside where I am right now. So I'm also just trying to stay warm. So Kanika, give us before we get into it, we've had an awesome volunteer who wants us to do a teardown on her profile. We're going to start with her, Nikita, and then we are going to get into Will's and mine, and you can roast us as much as you want. But first, tell us a little bit about your background and what you do and who you are, what you're about.
100%, yeah. Thanks a lot for that. So I started conversion copywriting almost like 4 years, 5 years down the line. And I was working as a product marketing and a growth marketing manager with all these early stage startups. And copywriting was a common element in all these roles. I was a conversion copywriter before anything else. I was being given the title of a product marketing manager, but I was still writing website copy, creating ad copy, writing ad explainer video scripts and everything. So I realized that is something I really, really want to do. And that was when I started doing my own thing. 2 years down the line, I started my own thing as a conversion copywriter. While doing that, I met Dave. Through him, I started this very unique service or offering, which was called LinkedIn Ghostwriting. And I never thought this is something that people are really interested in before I worked with Dave. But when I worked with him and I wrote for some founders, I realized this is a real opportunity if I have to apply all my skills as a conversion copywriter because it is the fastest feedback loop. I mean, I just write a post for a founder, they post it on their LinkedIn, it works. Copy was amazing. It doesn't, something needs to be done. And the analytics are all there. You don't have to wait for the traffic to go up. You don't have to like run ads to get people there. It's all there. So I just felt like this was something super interesting and I needed to do it more and more. And around this time, I think I reached out to Matt as well. It was last year, saying that, hey, since people do a lot of landing page teardowns inside Exit 5, why not try LinkedIn profile teardown? Let's see how it goes, let's see what's the participation like. We'll just have fun. He was like, okay, let's do it. And I was like, okay, he's great with the idea. We are going to get like 20, 30 participants. It's going to be amazing. And cut to, we kept getting participants, we kept getting comments, and it reached up to 100 profiles. Some people submitted like their whole organization. They were like, okay, this is my whole team, please tear down our profiles. And that was when I realized this is something that needs to be done first before ghostwriting, before going out there and creating like organic posts and like getting active on LinkedIn. This is like the first resume or a website or a landing page that needs to be filtered and that needs to be revamped. And that was when I also kind of started doing more of these live events, discussing profile teardowns on podcasts, and been loving that since then. Because I feel like if you truly optimize your LinkedIn profile and turn it into an actionable conversion focused landing page, all those profile views that you're getting, all those impressions you're getting, no matter if they're 500 or 5,000, you are only going to convert those impressions into real prospects and clients if you have an optimized profile. And you don't necessarily even need to take them to a website. if the profile works. So yeah, here we are today, tearing down some profiles, and super excited about that.
I love it. I love it. Okay, I love it. So let's get started. I mean, and exactly what you said. It's not that dissimilar. If people are finding you on LinkedIn, it is like that first impression. So that's why it matters so much. We often do talk about that in the world of websites too. Like when people have a crap website and they're like, "Oh, it doesn't matter that much." Well, it's kind of maybe the first time someone sees you. So let's get into it. Okay, so our first, and will like keep me honest on any chat and comments coming in too, because I'm going to start sharing
Okay,
my screen here so we can start tearing some stuff apart and
will
giving
do.
people some good advice here. So let me see if I can do the screen share properly, okay. So, and will, can you guys see my screen? Yeah, it looks like we're on. So
Yes.
Yeah, look good.
Nikita, thank you. We're good. Okay, cool. Thank you for volunteering. So I'm gonna just like scroll through. Everyone, can you see it? Okay, Kanika.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. Okay. Cool. So let's like, where do you start? So Nikita wanted us to tear down her profile today, and we're gonna get a little bit into profiles specifically, and then we're also gonna tear down posts and like look at some recommendations around for like how to zhuzh up a post. So where do you start? What's your first recommendation? What are you seeing here?
Amazing. So I think the first thing, the first element that I noticed, and Taylor, if you could also zoom in on the cover picture, I mean, it would be more visible for the audience. Works if you can't. I mean, we'll share the profile in the comment section as well. But I'm going
Okay,
to
like
start
that.
with, yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. I'm going to start with the cover picture. That's the first thing that I noticed literally on any LinkedIn profile. And here it says, so she literally actually says what I was going to mention. The cover picture says, "Does it matter what I write here?" To which I'm gonna reply, Nikita, yes, it does matter. First of all, thanks a lot for volunteering here. It was super amazing to have you. We're gonna talk about how can you make this cover picture copy more inclined towards all these prospects who might be viewing your profile. So you say, does it matter what I write here? And then you move to what matters to you is how I write for my clients. Check out my portfolio in the featured section, which is amazing. And then you say, liked what you saw, send an email, and then you have your email there. I like how it goes as a marketer. I like your flow. You start with a question, it's intriguing. Then you move them towards your featured section. They check out your portfolio and then they get to your email. But I'm going to be very honest with you here. This is a very long conversion journey. For you to have your prospect to first notice your cover picture copy that says, check out my portfolio in the featured section. Now, if some percentage of the prospects do that, they do check out that copy and go to the featured section. They'll go to your portfolio, then they'll check it out. They'll like it or not like it, and they'll email you. Is going to be like, it's going to be another challenge. So you see, these are like 3 4 steps that you are kind of expecting the prospect to do or the user to make before they finally convert. And our goal here is to reduce these steps. So just answer one question for your cover picture copy. What is the biggest pain point that you're solving for your prospects, your users, your clients, when they're visiting your profile or they're opting for your services? The answer to that question is going to be the copy for your cover picture, because you just have a few seconds before they get distracted by a new notification or a message, or they check out some interesting profile on the right hand side. So you just have those first few seconds to convince them to stay here, and also check out your portfolio. So for that to happen, you need to talk directly towards solving their pain points. That is the number one point. Second point would be, you mentioned that you do have a portfolio, and then I'm pretty sure you worked with some clients. Why not add all those logos in your cover picture? I mean, you can check out
Mm.
this profile. It's called Jake Ward, Jakeward. I'm going to share it in the comments as well later. You can check out his profile. Just have a look at his cover picture. He's really popular on LinkedIn as well. Just look at the design of the cover picture. He answers the pain point upfront in like the first part, and then there are logos of clients right below it for some quick social proof. Let me know if that makes sense. Do let me know in the comments. And Taylor, Will, do you have something to add on here?
Yeah, no, I love your point about adding in that social proof, especially if she's like doing freelancing work and in a specific niche, like show that. I think that's really great. She chimed into the comments. I was just trying something different. Hey, you got to always try. But yeah,
Yes.
no, I agree. So you're kind of saying that this, like, I do see a lot of people that don't really focus on making this profile image like good. And you're saying, like, that matters greatly, it sounds like.
Yes, 100%. So I just feel like this is the upper fold of your profile that has the profile picture, then there's a cover picture, then there's a headline
Yeah.
below the name. This is like the first impression. Before the user is going to move to the about section or to the featured section, this is the section they care about the most. And this is going to decide if they check out the remaining profile. So, for example, Nikita, if you have a website, you could literally just write down your complete website URL on the top left corner of your cover picture, which is empty right now. And you could have organic hits on your website because people do search for it. So I know, and you have a premium profile, you also have the option to actually add a link under your headline. So for
Mhm.
premium users, LinkedIn now gives the option to actually add a custom link that appears right below your headline. So instead of taking them first to the featured section or any other section and then to a website, you could literally add your portfolio website link right there. Just like the hero section of a landing page, where we have the H1, H2, and right below that, we have
Mhm.
a primary CTA. That could be a primary CTA, literally.
Yeah, so it's almost like treating your LinkedIn profile as a website. You know,
That's what
like,
I was
it
gonna say.
is a
100%, yeah.
landing page that matters greatly for people as you're trying to get them to convert.
How often do we talk about
100%.
that top of the fold on someone's website and,
Yeah,
like, how important that top of the fold is, you know? It's just
with
always a high priority.
yeah,
100%,
absolutely.
yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
so where do we
And
go next? We've talked about the top, the profile, the imagery up there, the words you're saying up there. Where do we go next?
so we'll move towards the about section. Before that, I just have
Okay.
like a quick thought for the headline as well. So your headline right now says head of content and strategy at Digital Shoes, freelance content writer,
Yeah.
freelance LinkedIn ghostwriter. I feel
Yeah,
like rather
right
than
here.
like you could add all yeah, Taylor, go for it.
Yeah.
Okay, Taylor, were you saying something? Do
Oh,
you have something to add on here?
oh, no, no, I'm just moving around, making sure I'm in the right spot.
Okay, awesome, awesome. So you
No, I'm
mentioned
good. You're
here
good to
head
go.
of content strategy. Awesome, awesome, amazing, amazing. I feel like it's okay to have some keywords in the headline. You could always add LinkedIn Ghostwriter because when prospects search for it, these keywords kind of help your profile to rank for like whatever they search for. That's okay. But I feel like the first section of your headline should actually focus on like an action based template. For example, I help X do Y through Z. So I help the prospects that you help get more of the outcome through the specific skills or expertise that I have. So, for example, you could write something like, because you're a LinkedIn ghostwriter, you could write something like, I help B2B SaaS founders convert like 10 to 20 leads a week, or like whatever percentage you help them convert in a week or a month through thought leadership content or video first content or literally anything that is like specific to you. And I feel like that is going to generate curiosity for the users to check out the remainder part of your profile and your about section as well. Apart from that, there's another way to handle the headline, which is focusing on the ROI. So if you've gotten like a particular founder these many impressions, you could literally say there like, these many impressions, like 200K impressions on a post, is what I've achieved with the founder. B2B SaaS, direct to consumer, whatever the industry is. And I feel like if they see that number there, they'll be intrigued enough to check out the entire profile to see if you've really done that. And I think that's the goal. The goal of the upper part of the profile is to generate enough curiosity for the user to check out the remainder part of the profile. Let me know if that makes sense. Anything to add here, Taylor? Will go for it.
Yeah, no, I would say it's like it's your opportunity to stop the scroll. So it's like if you want people, it really is that curiosity peaking. So the way I think about it a lot of times in the world of like branding, is you want to very quickly tell people how you have a problem, a solution to their problem. So it's less about this is who I am and more about this is how I can serve you.
100%.
Yeah,
That was
love it.
the
Okay,
concise part of what you said. Awesome. Okay,
cool.
we'll move
All
on
right,
to the
let's
about
go.
section
What's
now.
about? Yeah, this is great, by the way. And again, thank you so much for volunteering this. All right, go
Yeah,
for it.
amazing. So I see that before clicking on the see more or the read more tab, I think it appears after gaining 2 years of experience as a content writer in full time roles. I started as a freelance content, and then there's the option to click on the read more button. So I feel like up till then, whatever you've written, do you think if you like just think about it and you answer the question yourself, do you think it generates enough curiosity for this ideal prospect to click on the read more option? Do you think they'll be motivated enough to actually click on read more? If your answer was not like a straight up yes, then definitely this section, the first hook, needs a quick revamp. And how it's usually done is this way. So we see about section as a way to tell more about ourselves, and this is the number one mistake I see a lot of people making on their LinkedIn profiles. Unfortunately, like other social platforms, LinkedIn doesn't work the same way. So you can't talk about yourself in the about section and then expect the prospect to actually read the complete thing, because they are here for their pain points. So this is a template that you could actually follow in your about section. You could start with a very strong hook that actually questions them about the existing pain point that they're experiencing. So literally, I could literally open my LinkedIn profile and I could just tell what I've written there. This It follows the idealistic template of starting with a pain point, walking them towards the current life they have with all the existing pain points, then helping them visualize a life after all the pain points are being solved for them, ending with the social proof and CTA. So my about section starts with, it takes zero point zero 0.05 seconds for a user to form an opinion about your website, which is absolutely true. Even less than that. If you think I'm exaggerating, you could assume it to be zero point 0.5 seconds. Okay, you could assume it to be zero point 0.5. That's also pretty low. Now, zero point 0.5 seconds to explain what you do is where you see the see more option. And I feel like this is how I'm slowly moving them towards starting with a hook that's more pain point focused, walking them, explaining the pain point more, establishing on the existing pains they focus. For example, I write one line which is, you are literally competing against 50 tabs, 30 emails, and 20 Slack notifications, which is absolutely true. I mean, when you check out a new website, it's not like you're just there to check out that website. You have other things. You have Slack notifications, you have emails coming up, you have other tabs open, multiple Chrome windows open, multiple Safari windows open. So then your phone is buzzing constantly. So that particular website hero section is competing with all that noise. So it needs to be really, really, really strong for the user to pay attention. And I feel like if you start on your profile as well with, like, by focusing on what is the biggest pain point you solve for your customers, and then establish on it more, you'll be able to generate their curiosity and build on the pain points that they currently have in your about section. Let me know if that makes sense. Let me know if you have any questions for this template in the comment section. And feel free to add anything, Taylor.
Yeah, it's true. Will's got 36 Chrome tabs open. I was actually gonna really quickly pull up, see if I can figure out my screen share for a second. So I want to show your profile really quickly to talk about, so that people can see what you're talking about when it comes to some of these recommendations. So give me a second. I had your profile up.
Sure, I'm
Okay.
just going to share in the chat.
Yeah. And Nikita, if you've got any specific questions about that, please do chime in. And I've got, I don't know, my computer, my tabs are dying on me right now. That's the joy of
That's
live,
exactly
right?
what I
You
said.
know? Yeah. Okay. We'll figure that out later. Let's keep going. I don't want to stop the flow too much. Okay. So we will make sure. Hey, maybe Will, you can drop a link to Kanika's profile in the chat so other people can go kind of look
Sure,
and like
I could do that. Yeah.
study this as you're talking about.
Awesome, awesome, amazing. Okay,
Okay, cool.
so
All right. So we
moving
talked about
on.
about. I agree with you totally. It's like it's the hook. Yeah.
Yes, so moving on to the featured section,
Yeah, go
which
for
is
it.
again like this was a very unique feature that LinkedIn kind of added very recently. And I loved it for so many reasons. And I'll tell you the number one reason because this is literally the way, the only way to move some sections on your profile towards the upper fold or the middle fold. So the first thing that I did when I got featured section, when we got this feature, was adding my some of my recommendations in the featured section, so that I know, because people are not going to go all the way down and check out the recommendations. They're going to be here and they're going to check out the recommendations right here. So I feel like the number one thing that I notice in a featured section is a lack of recommendations or testimonials. So make sure you have that. Let's see what you have here. I really, really recommend links in the featured section as well. So you've given your portfolio, you've given your link tree, which is amazing. It's like a repository of all your important links. That is amazing. The second one is a post from you, sharing about a journey, and then there's another link here. Okay, so this is a particular rule that has worked for a lot of clients I worked with. It has worked for me as well, for the featured section, so that you have a balance of everything and you target all different kinds of audience. So it's literally called the TMB rule. It starts with having one top of the funnel content form, one mid of the funnel, and one bottom of the funnel, because your prospects slash clients are going to be at different stages. Some of them are going to be like in the top journey, some of them are going to be the middle full journey, some of them are going to be very, very, very close to conversion. So for them, you need to have some recommendations and testimonials already for them to finally convert. So I'll give you an example of like what all these different categories could look like. So top of the funnel could literally be a post sharing your entire journey throughout, that just kind of introduces you, tells people more about yourself. Middle fold could be something that is educating your prospects about that specific, you can say, content theme or pain points that they're looking to know more about. So for example, if you get on a discovery call with one of your prospects and they ask all these questions, why not answer some of those questions in this content piece and add it in the featured section, so that you reduce one journey in the conversion funnel. They don't need to necessarily get on a call with you to get answers to all those questions. They get it right here. And if they're ready, they just like kind of book a call with you and they just get all in and start with the project. Then the third is the bottom of the funnel content, for which I recommend just adding a recommendation from below to the featured section, or adding some of your best testimonials in a link and adding that link right here. Let me know if that makes sense. Let me know if you have any questions to do that. But I feel like that has kind of worked for me all the way throughout. And I keep on changing that. You could also experiment with it. Like you could keep on changing it every week or so and see what connects the most with your audience. But make sure that you don't overwhelm your audience with a lot of links. When I open your link tree, I see you have a lot of links on there. So make sure that your link tree also has two or three super specific links where you want your prospects to go, and you don't want them to get distracted to like other links out there. So make sure you like, remove some of the noise from here and focus this link tree on like a few super specific links, just considering this one ideal prospect who's going to be your ultimate client. Let me know, Will, Taylor, anything you have to add here, go for it.
There we go. Okay, I'm unmuted. Okay, I gotta bring her profile back. For some reason, my LinkedIn is going crazy. We might have to have somebody else share the profile if needed to. Okay, here we go. I'm going back to Nikita. Okay, so
All good, all good.
it's not allowing me to actually get back to her profile. Here, how about we have one of you guys do the screen share? Kanika, can you do the screen share? Because
Sure.
I don't know why I'm like bugging out right now.
No worries, let me do that.
Okay. I'm gonna figure it out. I
Okay,
don't know. It's
amazing.
like if there's snow, my internet is like it's weird. I don't know why. It's cold
Fine.
outside and it turns the internet down for me.
All good, Taylor. Let me know if you guys can see my screen.
Okay. Yeah, it's coming up.
Okay, I think I need to give
You got to
this.
click on the little present button. There we go. Yeah,
Yeah.
I see it again. Okay, we're good.
Okay, amazing, amazing, awesome. Okay, so yeah, I feel like that was about the
Well,
featured section. I'm gonna everything that I mentioned. I'm gonna share this,
yeah,
like you can say a recipe of sorts, or like the template versions later in a post as well, so you can follow it up there. But yeah, this is about like
yeah,
the most important sections of the profile. We're just left with one section, which is something that I see most people ignoring, but it is really really important. Let me know if you guys can see this experience section on Nikita's profile.
yeah,
Yeah, I can.
Awesome, awesome.
yeah, yeah, we
Okay.
can. And just to recap real quick too, I mean, I think the what's interesting that you're saying about is when we think about our traditional marketing funnels with like tofu, mofu, and bofu, so top of funnel all the way down to bottom of funnel content. A lot of times people are coming through our traditional funnel and they're like, we're then seeing where they are in our funnel. And so because LinkedIn, we're not necessarily seeing exactly where someone is on that funnel, it's a good way to kind of think about how to present tofu, mofu, and bofu content in that like prime real estate. So I love that.
Exactly. I feel like for a lot of things, we are in this like kind of a black room where we don't have any idea about like which sections people like the most, what are they checking out the most, because we don't have access to the kind of analytics that we do on a website or landing page. I mean, for a landing page, I could literally add heat maps in any given section. We have the blogs, we know what kind of content we put out there, which is a bofu content, which is a tofu content, what we put out there through which people have come on the landing page. We know the source as well. And I feel like all those analytics are missing on a LinkedIn profile. So you need to do these iterative experiments to figure that out yourself. And you need to have something for literally everyone. Okay, awesome. We'll now move on to the experience section. And the reason I say this is really important, but most people ignore it, is I'll tell you why. So, for example, somebody comes on Nikita's profile and they click here on the company name. They want to check out where she works, and now I'm being taken to the experience section. I wasn't taken to like a separate LinkedIn company page, but I was first brought to the experience section. Now I'm going to click on this tab again, then I'm going to go to the company LinkedIn page, and then I'm going to go to the website, which is a very very long and tiring conversion journey. So instead of that, why not have everything right here? I'm going to show it. I'm going to follow the show versus tell approach. I'm going to show a profile that does it really, really, really well. Can you all see Jake's profile to the experience
Yep.
section?
Yeah, looks good.
Awesome, awesome. So he says the easiest way to grow with SEO, he has answered an objection which is kind of related to SEO right there. It's not complex, it's super easy. Then he says who he targets, what he does for them, and how. We help dash software companies get more of qualified traffic, sales, and revenue through conversion focused SEO and content marketing. I mean, you don't literally need to go on a separate company LinkedIn page because you have everything right here. You have all the answers. And then he has a link right below it, which is book a call link. And this link is custom built for the LinkedIn audience. And I feel like this is a genius move because most company pages on LinkedIn are not optimized for like this ideal prospect coming from LinkedIn. They were just kind of built and they're there. They're lying there since years. They haven't been updated. So you go there, you get lost, then you go to a website that is again not directly talking to you, is full of noise and distractions, and you just forget why you were there in the first place. Like you have to start from scratch thinking about, okay, what was I doing, why was I here, and you close all the tabs, you go back, never visit that profile again, forget all about it. And that is usually what happens in most cases. So I feel like instead of increasing this conversion journey, it's best to answer all the customer objections in this section, then have a quick link for them to book a call with you right there. Even if you don't build this entire landing page specifically for the LinkedIn audience, you can build it in a way to answer some of the objections and questions, and you can build it in a way that is meant for a LinkedIn prospect. It's short, has less noise, answers basic questions and objections, has a few testimonials, some social proof, and then there's a book a call section to just directly book a call with you. Let me know what you think about this, guys, and also what Nikita thinks about this in the comment section. Let
Yeah.
me know if you find this interesting.
I love that. I didn't know that you could actually do that on that experience section. So we'll have to figure out and maybe some follow up on like how to point people in the right direction of getting that done on their profiles.
Yeah, I would
Awesome.
have said
Yeah,
the
I
same
feel
thing.
like, yeah, we'll go for it.
No, no, I was going to say I would reaffirm the same thing. I didn't even. That's a really cool feature.
Amazing. Yeah, I feel like we know that we have the option to add these attachments there. But if we go to like edit experience and go to media, there's also a link. There's also an option to add a link. And I
Yeah.
feel like, see, there are these small nuggets inside the LinkedIn profile that you could optimize, update, but we just like, because we don't experiment much with it like we do on a website or landing page, this is why we don't even have access to all those features because we're not using it in the right way. So
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Okay, in the show notes from today, we'll post some like resources on how to do some of these things. So I love that. By the way,
awesome.
LinkedIn kicked me out. They're like, "You're done," and my login isn't working. So hopefully my profile didn't get hacked or something right now. But I'm glad that you've got yours showing.
Oh my God.
I don't know. Just
I,
sign me out, and I can't get in, and it's like, no, your password doesn't work anymore. So we'll keep going, but that's always fun.
LinkedIn does that. I mean, it's probably just a minor glitch. You'll get back there. Awesome.
All right.
Okay.
So what's
So
next? What's next?
we could, I hope you found some valuable nuggets in there, Nikita, and thanks a lot for participating again.
Yeah.
Let's move on to Will's profile. Let me know. Should I do Taylor's or Will's first?
Yeah, Will, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let me
Awesome.
shine
Awesome.
my light
Okay.
a little brighter.
Amazing. Amazing. Can you see Will's profile on my screen?
Yeah, it looks good.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, so we'll start with the upper fold. And the first time I checked out your profile, Will, I was so my focus instantly didn't go on the one thing that it should go on. Like the copy that you've written here is so on point, but unfortunately, the design elements are kind of distracting me. So I'll tell you like what it is. So I noticed your profile for the first time. I could only see all these graphics on the left hand side, and I know you wanted to give like a picture description of like what you exactly say there. You wanted to describe it. You wanted to follow the show versus tell approach. I get that. But then I get distracted so much that I don't notice the message that you have written there, which is unlimited graphic design delivered lightning fast, which is an amazing message. It's so, I mean, this is what I tell people to do with their cover picture copy. This is exactly what they should do. And then right below it you say one flat monthly fee, no hidden costs, no commitments. That is, I mean, these are the objections that the prospects are looking to answer when they visit your profile. These are the objections they're looking for. And unfortunately, with all these distractions around, they might not focus on them as much as they should. So my recommendation to you would be just make the background plain black, because so all these elements and all these colors are adding some sort of cognitive overload in the brain. And because you only have a few seconds, unless like you lose them forever, you need to make sure that you use those few seconds to focus on what matters the most. Now you could also do a visual representation of whatever you've said here, but I feel like it'll be easier to make the background black or plain, and then just focus on making like the highlighting the message more and removing every other distraction from the cover picture. Because this is exactly what your prospects are looking for. When you say one flat monthly fee, no hidden costs, no commitments, this is exactly what they're looking to answer. So they don't need to go on a separate website and answer all these objections. They'll have them answered here. Let me know if that makes sense to you.
No, I mean, yeah, that definitely makes sense. Bit of a less is more in this approach in some ways, right?
Yes, 100%. Because so I noticed the cover picture first, then I move towards the profile picture, then I move towards the headline. But whatever I read in the cover picture kind of sticks with me. So if I just have like either image or text there, I feel like I could just remember it for a longer time. And because you have the copy so much on point, I mean, yes, it could be better if you like go more towards answering specific customer pain points. The copy could be even better, but we should first start by removing all the distractions around and then slowly move towards like uh, taking the copy towards the specific pain points. So for example, right now you've written here unlimited graphic design delivered lightning fast. uh, Again, it's particularly a pain point being answered, an objection being answered. But if you make a list of all the points, answering the question, what is the biggest pain point that you are solving for all these users getting on the Creative Shizzle website? Or like, what does a website say? Like, for example, let's see the website. I'm going to share this tab instead. So I read something on the website that kind of stuck with me, and I felt like that could be used in the cover picture copy as well. So you say marketing is hard and time consuming. We make it simple, fast, and convenient. Now, this is something I absolutely love. This goes in that pain point answering section. Then you move towards meet your go-to team for standing out branding, graphic design, and snazzy content. No freelancers, no hiring headaches, no long-term contracts, just one budget-friendly subscription for your creative needs. I love this copy, and I feel like this could potentially be utilized on your cover picture because this answers customer pain points, this highlights the biggest benefits, and it is short, precise, and would literally make them curious to check out the remaining part of the profile. Let me know if that makes sense for you guys.
Yeah, no, totally. That makes sense. Top of the fold, like we talked about before, right?
Yes, awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, moving on to your headline that says it's very to the point. It says happiness manager, digital product project manager, podcaster. Now, I love minimalism. I love small, concise copy. I'm all in for it. But I also feel that this is a missed opportunity in a way that it could have been utilized in maybe highlighting the biggest, you can say, social proof that you have. So, for example, there's a case study on the website. There's a recent client project that you did, and there's your team has some kind of stats, some kind of ROI from that that could be used here. So for example, Jake's profile here says, I'm going to show it here. It says started an SEO agency in 2019 making 20 million a year for our clients. Now I feel like when he says that, that immediately strikes me like, oh my god, that's like a big claim to make. Is he like exaggerating it? If he's not, I really want to check out and see if what he's saying is absolutely true. So I spend the next 15-20 minutes checking out his entire profile to see what he's claimed here is true. And I feel like that's exactly what he wanted. He wanted me to check out his entire profile, which is why he made this big claim in his headline. So I'm not asking you to make up things that don't exist, but I'm pretty sure if you think about it, there has to be something from your recent client projects that could be added here that's going to instantly make someone go like, okay, I need to DM them because I need to get on a call right now. This is something I find absolutely interesting. Or they're going to check out your remainder part of the profile, they're going to check out your website, and they're going to book a call with you to check out more about your services. But in the end, it's going to generate the kind of curiosity that you wanted them to have. Let me know if you have anything to add here. Taylor, if you have anything to add here, let me know what you think, Will.
Yeah, no, I'm just already thinking of like new headlines for Will, like around like how to make marketing happier, like, like I make marketing, happy and fun or something like that that like fits with what you do, but
Yes.
Yeah.
is more specific around a pain point that other marketers are like looking for help with. I don't know. What do you think, Will? I love this.
No, I'm too busy brainstorming over here, if anything.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Well,
What do I need to
actually, I
change
mean,
this to?
yeah, well, and this is a case of like we're regularly like trying out new things and testing things, and like that website copy is stuff that we updated recently, but like we haven't brought it over to LinkedIn, and so I think it's a really good point about thinking how when we're iterating over there, how we need to be making sure that we're consistent in these other channels, and I think that that's a really good takeaway for people listening here today around that consistency of experience across channels too.
Awesome, awesome. And like you said, I feel like we make all these changes to the website because we see analytics live right there. And because we don't see what's happening here, we don't do anything about it. So this is a very interesting, you can say, mechanism that I suggest to a lot of people to check if their profile really works. And I have used it personally for a very long time. So this was before LinkedIn gave the option to add a primary CTA below the headline. So there was no option to add a link. There was one option to maybe just add it in your cover picture, but nothing except that. No featured section, nothing. So I did this. I removed I removed the link from the cover picture as well. No links in the comments, in the post, nothing. I just had a DM. So, for example, if my profile was correctly optimized, this prospect would actually DM me when I send them a connection request and they check out my profile. And if they actually don't, then maybe my profile is not working. So, this one time, I kind of updated my cover picture copy, my headline, literally everything to just talk to this ideal set user that is my prospect. I kind of just revamped every single section. And this was the first time that I did it. Way before I had the idea of a profile tear down or anything like that, anything even close to that. And for every 20 to 30 connection requests that I send, I used to get 7 to 8 DMs. I mean, most of them were inquiring about the services because I made sure that I kind of highlight my thought process, my services, customer pain points right in there. But some of them were just like literally just DMing me to say, okay, dope cover picture, hard relate. I mean, because I wrote something around the lines that I remember there were these viral selfies around that time on LinkedIn. And I wrote something around no selfies ahead with a sob story seeking validation from strangers on the internet. This is a safe space. And I felt like so many people connected with it. And I mean, I don't know why. I just wrote something that I just instantly felt during that time. It made sense for me. And just people just instantly connected to it. And I feel like that is what LinkedIn does. Even if you do not have a link on your profile, people are going to DM you if your profile is really, really working. Let me know if that makes sense.
That totally makes
Yeah,
sense.
totally. I mean, it, it's interesting too, because like I like looking at different platforms and seeing how people kind of are doing and engaging with each other in different ways on different platforms. And I feel like you see, I don't know, like the DM game is up a notch, like on platforms like Instagram and stuff like that. But like this is the way it can work for you, and you should be using it and trying to drive people to your DMs on LinkedIn, just like any other platform.
100%, 100%. If that's, I mean, if the profile is working and you get DMs and then you add a link later, that link is gonna work like
Mhm,
crazy because your conversion funnel worked even without a link. So the no link
mhm.
test is the best one. Okay, awesome,
Love it.
awesome. Moving on to the about section. I love this section because there are literally so many characters here. It's the longest section of the profile, and I love using it to like talk to the users. I keep changing it literally every month or like every 2 3 weeks, because there's so much space for experimentation here. So let's see what Will has here. He says, hi, I'm Will, a creative problem solver, happiness manager, community builder, podcaster, and marketing strategist who thrives on turning ideas into action. As part of the talented team at Creative Shizzle, I've had the privilege of helping numerous brands. And now, after and I'm looking at see more. Now, this is a point where we need to ask the question, do you think that an ideal prospect who's checking out this section would be intrigued enough to click on the see more option? If you think that the answer in your head is not a clear yes, then that means there needs to be some kind of edits being done here. But let's click on see more first. Let's see the structure that you have here. And nonprofits craft compelling campaigns, elevate their design, and then so forth and so on. What drives me, you talk more about like yourself. Outside of work, you likely find me exploring for these best eats amazing, thinking about the perfect name for my next post, or jumping into the latest trends in branding and digital marketing. So I feel like, Will, your about section is like the perfect description of what I described as a top of the funnel post. So, for example, when we were talking about Nikita's featured section, I said that there should be one post here that is literally just top of the funnel. It introduces you, shares more about like your journey, your introduction, helps a user get closer to you as a person. I feel like this about section could be a post. I mean, you could just literally post it and then add it to your featured section. It would work great there. But for the about section, I feel like you could move more towards like the pain points part for the user. Like for example, right now here you're talking about yourself, but your idealistic about section, if your goal with the profile is building a personal brand, ultimate conversion, or teaching your audience about some content themes, then this about section should be talking about either those content themes, that topics that concern you with that personal brand, or the kind of services that you want the prospect to move closer towards. So whatever the ultimate goal is that you have with your profile, which is something that you know, is going to define this template or the structure that you have for the about section. And the current about section that you have here should be a post. I mean, just a suggestion could be a post that you could literally put out there, and you could add it to your feature section. It would work amazing. People would really, really connect with it. It's amazing to just read it. And when they look at your featured section, they'll always have this introduction right there. And that could work as the best tofu piece of content. Let me know what your thoughts here. I'm just kind of experimenting while looking at your about section.
No, I like it. I definitely probably when I created that about section was more thinking about myself as opposed to um, uh, top of the funnel content. But no, I'm definitely following along, and I like what you're
Awesome.
what you're saying.
I've got a
Awesome. So I'm gonna,
question. Can I
yeah,
ask
yeah,
a
go for
question
it.
real quick? Because I think this is a something relevant for people who we have clients oftentimes. You're an let's just say like you're an individual contributor at a company, and the
Mhm.
company does certain things, but you do certain things within your job function, right? And you're thinking about how can I be an ambassador of my company, but like I'm also me, and it's my professional journey and my life. So how do you balance the in this about section, like, I'm speaking to the pain points that the company solves, but I'm also speaking to the pain points that I solve in my specific role with what I do and what I care about.
Awesome, amazing question. I was actually trying to find out a profile that I had literally for this particular question that you answered. I think I'm not finding that right now, but we'll just talk about it. I'll find that profile. I'll add it there for you to have like the show versus tell approach as well. So amazing question. This was something when I did the live AMA on Exit 5 as well. This was something that people were really concerned about, how to do that balance between showing what services they offer to all these companies, and some of them worked on a contract basis, some of them had fractional roles, so they also wanted to show a part of their personal portfolio, individual profile right there. So for that, I suggest focusing the about section on your results, your ROI and outcomes, rather than just like making it like a top the funnel content where you just introduce yourself, because that's not going to move the needle. So if you want to talk more about yourself, because this is more about your personal brand, and you're not like really talking about the company in the about section, focus on the ROI or the outcomes that you've helped all these companies achieve in the past and are currently doing. What is the most recent achievement you've had? ROI, I'm sorry about the throat. ROI you've had in your recent fractional role. What was the metric that you kind of impacted the most? What was the ROI? What were the stats? Tell me, give me all the numbers. Show me a glimpse of your process also right there. Then add some testimonials, like some quick ones, like maybe a part of the testimonial that just answers some of the pain points or objections, and then add it with end it with a quick social proof or stat. And I feel like that works the best, because that's like a perfect blend of giving these prospects, telling them more about the kind of results, ROI you've impacted, A, B, that also gives them a glimpse of the kind of services you offer, solutions you bring to the table, what can you help them with if they do hire you on a contract basis or for a fractional role. And when you add all these testimonials, you're also giving them a glimpse of like what kind of how this client perceived you as a person or as an expert while working with you. And I feel like that is like the perfect kind of about section when you want to balance between talking about what kind of work you've done with in your fractional roles, but you also want to establish on your personal brand. So having ROI rather than just like stating this is what I did. So for example, rather than writing something like I help B2B SaaS founders write thought leadership content every week, every day. I get on a call with them. This is what we do, blah, 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 blah. If I just say that, my most recent achievement is helping this particular founder get to 400K impressions in like 2 or 3 months. That is the best ROI that all these prospects would be expecting for me. And that could work in the about section, because while I am talking about my results, I am also telling them how I can help them with these kind of results. Let me know if that makes sense. I am also trying to find out that one profile that had all
Yeah,
these
yeah, yeah.
examples that I just shared. Yeah.
No, I think that makes a lot of sense. I like the focus on the ROI. And I asked that question because I think a lot of people feel like they're sometimes walking this fine line of their personal brand and then the company that they work for and that brand, and I know over the years I've gotten a lot of questions about that. And so I think it's like focus on the ROI both for like probably like how you can help, but how the company can help and like blending a little bit of the two. I personally like I think that makes a lot of sense.
Awesome. Yeah. And this is the profile that, can you see Tass's profile on your screen?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so Tass is a landing page expert,
Yeah.
and her about section is literally the definition of what we just discussed. She starts with, "Hi, I'm Tass," rhymes with sass, coincidence, real talk. We do landing pages wrong in B2B. She starts with, "I'm sorry, I'm having this so and sure issue after talking so much about the S's." So she starts with real talk. We do landing pages wrong in B2B.
Yeah.
We're so focused on conversions that we completely forget that the B2B buying journey is non-linear. So right now she's talking to all these prospects. She's definitely talking about the pain points. The buying committees are larger than ever, and the marketing teams are drowning in lack of resources with unrealistic targets. Amazing. Then she moves on to, "This means that on-page conversions aren't a good indicator of success. Consumption of information is. We need to create a landing page that gives buyers the information they need to make a business case and put us on the shortlist for evaluation." And then she talks about how exactly you can do that, and then she
Mm,
brings people to her results, and then she kind of ends it with a social proof, a solid social proof, and some stats. So I feel like this is just one example in like, I have a lot of different profiles. I'm going to share all of them after
mhm,
this live, but this is like a mix of talking to these prospects about their pain points, then also talking about the kind of ROI results you've driven personally, your experience, but how that
mhm.
experience kind of adds value to all these prospects. So I feel like that balance is much needed when you have like a personal brand and you don't represent like a particular company. So that's very important.
Yeah, I love that. This is great. Yeah, and Taz is on fire these days. So that's a really
Amazing.
good person and how she's doing it. She's doing things really well. Okay. Hey,
Awesome.
Nancy's got a quick question too, and I want to make sure we get to it. Um,
Yeah.
What's the difference between followers and connections, and why is one or other more important? I don't know if you've got any. I know that's a little bit of a different than kind of what we're talking about here, but do you have any specific thoughts about that really quickly? Especially because like, there's a way to kind of go into creator mode if you want to, and focus more on followership than connections. I just want to make sure we answer her question real quick.
Got it. So, first of all, thanks for that question. That's being debated since years. That comes up in literally every other LinkedIn podcast and every other event. There's a discussion going on right now in all the marketing communities about it. But I'm going to tell you, like, again, this really depends from profile to profile. It's going to literally change from one profile to another. But I feel like some people who've reached that point of even having 30K or 40K followers do not have the kind of impact that a creator with literally just 7K or like 10K followers is creating. I think this is a profile. I'm going to just quickly share it. His name is Vincent Peary. I'm not sure if you've seen his profile. So he grew from scratch. He just had like 2K connections, and he mentioned this. Right now, I'm going to share the tab. Right now, he has like
Mm,
13K connections, which is 13K followers, which is amazing. But he literally
mm,
started from zero. And around the time he had only 3K connections, he was getting the kind of engagement that people with 10K or 20K connections also don't. So this is something
mm,
that he mentioned, that it doesn't really matter the kind of followers you have. If your content is great, LinkedIn is going to push it towards the right audience. Now what
mm,
matters is, are you like kind of categorizing your content well? Have you developed a niche? Have you answered the question, what is it that you want to be known for? If yes, then move on, share more of that content, and then also keep a ratio of like the number of impressions you're getting per post to the number of conversions you're making from those impressions. So if the percentage, if the stats are pretty good, that means you're doing a decent job. You don't need to care about the number of followers you have in that case. But if you have like a great follower count, a great connection count, but the impressions you're getting is still lower and the conversions are even lower, then I think that's the real problem. But I don't really think that followers or connections really matter to a point where I feel like you can't get more work or you can't get more impressions just because you have less followers. That doesn't happen. LinkedIn is always going to push your content to the right audience if it's like super niche specific, and if it kind of caters to them, entertains them, talks to them directly. And if you check out Vincent's profile, it kind of starts with the whole theory of starting from scratch, then moving towards just sharing educational content on and on, asking for nothing in return. I think he shared educational content. Look at this post, it has like 6,700 likes. That is crazy. Okay, that is pretty crazy. I don't know, it was 2 weeks back, I get it. Now he has 13K followers, but there was also a point
Yeah.
when he just had like 3K or 4K followers, and this engagement is absolutely crazy. So you see, there's like, I
Yeah.
don't see this kind of engagement even on profiles who have like 70K followers right now.
No.
So yeah, so followers and connections are not gonna, less followers and connections are not gonna stop you from anything, but it's very important to connect with your prospects every single day. That's very important. Like you have to send connection requests to your ideal audience, to your prospects every single day, and you have to keep a map of per impressions how many conversions you're actually getting, because that's the real stat or metric you need to measure. I hope you
Mm.
I answered that question.
Yeah, I think that's really helpful, and just like continuing to give us more profiles to look at so that you can kind of study other people who seem to be doing well, and then kind of apply some of those patterns and techniques to your strategy and your audience as well.
Yeah, awesome, amazing.
Cool. So where should we go next? I know we've got about 5-ish minutes left or so, I think. What do you think is like the lightning round we should do right now, Kanika?
I feel like we could just like sum up literally
Yeah.
everything. I could also share this very interesting profile that I have. I want to share it in the very beginning as well. Give me a second. So this is like a great inspiration for anyone who's looking for all these examples that we just discussed, the cover picture
Ah,
templates, the headline templates, about sections. If you want a variety of examples and you want to pick on, okay, what kind of relates to my particular specific case, this is the perfect profile. Can you see this profile that's called the
yeah.
LinkedIn Creator?
Yeah,
Yeah.
LinkedIn creators. Yeah, and
Awesome.
linkedIncreator.io.
So if you kind of, you could subscribe to his newsletter, you could just follow the page here, doesn't matter. He kind of dissects every single post on LinkedIn and every single about section, the headlines, the cover pictures, about sections, experience sections, post constantly, profile pictures as well. And I feel like this is the best way to learn when you have so many examples and you can just pick point, okay,
Mhm,
this is the one that kind of that fits the best with my particular case. It matches my
mhm,
industry, it matches my specific pain point. This is the kind of solution I'm looking to offer. You could take inspiration from this particular page. It is literally reverse engineering all the posts, all the best cover pictures, all the best headlines, about sections right there. So I feel like this is something that everyone should follow. This was a great inspiration for me as well. It's like a repository of all these useful about section templates, headline templates. And in the end, I feel like there's just one little thing that I want to mention. When if you do decide to kind of go all in on your personal brand, and you start with revamping your profile, make sure that you experiment a lot. I mean, whatever we've said in this live section is something that I've experimented with, and it worked for my prospects, my clients, and me. Now that doesn't have to be like a permanent compulsory blueprint for everyone. So this is what I'm going to recommend: take inspiration from all these areas, from wherever you can get it, and just keep experimenting. Every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks, update your cover picture copy, update your headline, update your about section. Dave Garrett literally updates his headline every other week. Every other week I see a new Dave right there. There's a new headline. Sometimes he's also updating his profile picture. So he just keeps on experimenting, and I feel like that's very important when you're creating a personal brand, to see what exactly sticks with your users, and make sure all the links that you've added on your profile, right from the upper fold to the featured section, are UTM links, so that you can actually track them. That's about it. I feel like that is it. Anything to add here, Taylor and Will? I think that's it from my end.
Yeah, no, I loved it. I would say, like, I'll just kind of recap some closing thoughts. And yeah, thanks for everyone who kind of like joined in and asked questions and stuff like that today. I think a couple of things that really stuck out for me are really, really in line with like just brand strategy in general. And like LinkedIn is a channel for that. So as you talked about, think about LinkedIn as the first impression that people are getting. Make sure within that first impression, they can very quickly and very clearly understand exactly how you could help solve any challenges that they have in their business or their professional space. That's kind of the biggest thing. And then the last thing you just mentioned, and I agree, it's funny. Sometimes I think Dave is like maybe just like joking too with like all of his updates. But think of it as a place for experimentation and just regularly iterate. When you see something working, okay, lean into that. Why did it work? Like, what is it about that maybe is the thing that causes it to work or to take off? So use it as a place of experimentation too, is kind of what I heard.
100%. Yeah, you just summed it up really well.
I mean, this was
Awesome.
all great for
Will?
me. I've got a lot to take home. Will you review my profile again in a couple weeks when I edit it? No, I'm just just
Yeah.
messing with you.
Yeah, I know.
Um,
Yeah, we didn't get to
no,
mine, but I still now, but I've already know what I need to fix, I think. No.
Okay, one last thing, just like this is a new feature that LinkedIn now gives access to. You can literally experiment with multiple cover pictures as a slideshow now. If you have a premium profile, you
Really?
could add like three cover. Yeah, you could add three cover pictures. I'm going to show like an example of if I can just
Okay,
quickly add here.
cool.
So this is Jeff. I think I did his audit during the Exit 5 EMA, and have a look. You can
Oh,
see the screen, right? So the
cool.
cover picture is constantly moving. So I mean, you could also change the copy and just like experiment with like whatever's sticking the most. Of course, you'll have to like kind of make a lot of assumptions, ask people what's working, what's really not. But this is a great starting point if you have like multiple products and multiple
Yeah,
ICPs as well.
that's cool. No, I wasn't aware of that either. So I think we've also learned about some cool features that probably just are not commonly known. And we'll make sure to put some follow up with like some, links to where you can go learn more about those features, because I think these things are really cool too.
Awesome, awesome.
Awesome. All right. Well, hey, this has been awesome. Thanks so much for
yeah,
joining us.
really.
Truly a
Amazing.
pleasure. If you need help with your LinkedIn profile, go to fixmylinkedin.com. Kanika, I know we're here on LinkedIn already and people are chiming in, but is there any other way that you would say, like, direct people to get in touch with you?
I think LinkedIn is literally the best way. That is pretty much where I am living all the time. So that is the best channel for me.
Awesome. And Nancy said, I'm planning to add LinkedIn profile updates to align with my 2-week content sprints, a new content strategy line from Taylor. Awesome. Hey, Nancy,
Awesome.
that's so good. Yes, this has been fun. I feel like we should do more lives. I think I like this live thing again. It's
Yeah,
been
it
a little
was
while
really,
since I've been doing a lot of
it
lives,
was
but like
super
they're a lot
fun.
more spontaneous. It's just a little bit more fun. So thanks so much for joining us. And thanks to everybody who logged in and got something out of this, I hope today. Send us your follow-up questions and we'll see you on the next one.
Awesome, awesome. Loved it, guys. Thanks a lot for having me. It was really, really fun.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a blast.
Awesome.